Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today for February 9th, 2020. I'm the man they call Meathead, and it is still freezing. Folks, good morning. Time to get that hot cup of Joe or hot cup of Meathead, because the best part of waking up is a little Meathead in your cup. And I'm going to give you a little extra flavor for a Tuesday morning. It's Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning. I'm happy to be whatever you typically sprinkle in your meat. I'll always be a condiment to you, Meathead.
As long as you're not a side dish, because then it just gets weird.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of side dish, yeah, that video that I sent you, that's let's move on. Here we talk about the snow, and here we talk about the cold, and we were talking about what happened in Milwaukee over the weekend with the guy flying over the interstate and literally flying off a bridge, landing 70 feet below himself, and living. You would think that a guy from Milwaukee would know how to drive in the snow, unlike Matthew Thomas, who has set a new hits and view record with driving in the snow in Denver in a Ford Mustang.
Yeah, it still tends to be quite the popular video. I believe we've surpassed over 3 million views now. And I'm sure that was helped by your link from last week, which I think we're trending as far as this podcast goes. So a lot of the people who've probably been watching that video on repeat for years now probably found out exactly who was driving that Mustang.
I think the next thing I'm going to do, and I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but I need to go comment on the video and say, hey, if you want to talk to the guy that did this, join us over at PWR today, Monday through Friday. And then do a little synergy there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. We might have to open up the phone bank again to let people,
I don't know if we want to do that.
One-on-one. Yeah.
Hi, Milwaukee. Hello. You're talking to Matthew Thomas, the guy in the Mustang.
I think there's some potential there.
Well, we've got the potential to also make a couple bucks using our sponsors. And our sponsors are good friends at manscaped.com. Make sure you're getting yourself silky smooth, like our good friend Dave Hero says down at Tough Love, down at OVW over the weekend down in Louisville. PWR, the promo code. Save yourself 20%. Get your... And Matthew, I know you heard yesterday's show. I mean, we were talking about the Super Bowl and the people wearing the underwear on their face. Hopefully they had their faces manscaped as well as their nethers, or they were upside down. I don't know, but make sure you're getting in Manscaped for this Sunday for Valentine's Day with PWR and manscaped.com. Plus, our friends at collarandelbowbrand.com. I think I might have to order more from Collar and Elbow Brand, Uncle Al and all the good boys down in Louisville, because I'm freezing. And while I enjoy my, Collar and Elbow mirror designed hoodie, I think I need about 3 more on. It is freaking cold. PWR 360. Save yourself 10% at collarandelbowbrand.com. Matthew, we got a couple bits to talk about. First off, let's talk some not positive news. So we'll take it down and then we'll bring it back up when we talk Raw here. Excuse me. Alexa Bliss. You remember the conversations we had over the summer with Sonya Deville?
I do very well.
And it kind of probably piqued popped in your head again when we were talking pre-tape here about what we're going to talk about. Alexa Bliss has a legit stalker, and we did not see her on Raw last night, and I hope it's because she's on lockdown. Because there is somebody tweeting at her, and here's the exact quote. Hey, Alexa Bliss, WWE, I'm going to have to apologize for what happens when I arrive in Orlando, Florida. So much pain, not enough love. Ryan Cabrera is in our way. We have shown him who is boss. Oh, and one more thing, is afraid. He says that he's coming to find her. He will come to her house. He will come to Orlando to find Alexa Bliss. Luckily, he's dumb enough to post it on the internet and the media and keep tweeting this out because the internet is aware. I mean, if we're talking about it, the internet is obviously aware. Yeah. Ryan Cabrera, no joke either. Hopefully Alexa's okay, and hopefully that the local authorities and WWE, because I think, honestly, right now the safest place for her to be would be Tropicana Field.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, you're putting that out there. There's ways to find out who you are, where it's coming from, and it just absolute absurdity.
I have to ask the question. I don't want it to be the answer because I think it's absolutely stupid and ignorant. But it's wrestling. And we have to ask it. and we know where we're both at, but it's got to be put out there. I mean, we have to do the due diligence here. This isn't storyline, is it?
No, not. You've got a pretty.
I have to ask it, though.
Yeah, WWE is pretty consistent with the lines they would cross in a lot of cases, and it would absolutely, blow me away if this was, because they typically do not go anywhere near, anything like a domestic violence angle. And with a lot of the real life things that have happened in the past,
showing you the bill last summer, we're talking about it right now.
Yep, I don't think they would. I don't think it's anything they would touch.
Okay, I didn't think so either, and I knew so, but I had to ask it. Right? Am I wrong to ask? I mean, I had to say it.
No, I think you always have to look at, what is. Now, here's the thing. If this was popping up on WWE television, or if the website was picking up on it or something, right, I think that's, but they haven't done anything in the past since we've been in a social media era to lead you the way that they would blur the lines like this. And when you look at something like this, I think that the likelihood of that line being blurred would have been much higher when they were not a publicly traded company. At the end of the day, now you've got to look at this as a company that has business interests, and I don't think that's anywhere they would even approach.
Not only business interests, but deals. I mean, literally, think about the last 10 years. They've been accepted by the mainstream.
Yeah.
And by the mainstream, I don't mean wrestling fans. I mean by the ESPNs. I mean, they're on Fox. Yeah. They're accepted by the mainstream. So, no, this is not a story. Please don't think it's a story. Me saying it's a story, which I didn't believe, but I had to put it out there, is almost as dumb as when the Owen Hart thing happened. Somebody said, do you think it's fake? Right. So we talked about it. We're good. We can move on. We got one other piece here. There is talk that the WWE will be dipping into the hip hop genre one more time, possibly before WrestleMania. And it's, what is her catchphrase? Is it or something like that? How does she do that?
I don't know, but is that the intro to the John Cena theme song?
No, I think it's.
Oh, okay. You can see how I can get those two confused.
She was on Wayne's World Sunday during the football game. Cardi B. There is talk of having Cardi B join in. I know there's been back and forth on socials with Lacey Evans. I don't mind the Hollywood aspect. I don't mind the musical aspect or the sports aspect. It's going to happen. It's what WWE does, and it's what the world does, and it's okay. I mean, we're in a different world now because these guys aren't out on tour all day long. We got Bad Bunny. He's going to be there till WrestleMania. Guarantee you, we're going to see that dude every week. But do we need more? Do we need Cardi B, Matthew?
I think Cardi B is a big enough name that it feels like it's a big deal and not just a celebrity for the sake of a celebrity. So I think that if they're going to make a celebrity move for Mania, it's one of the more high profile names that you can get right now in 2021. Now, from what you're hearing, I mean, is it performance, or do you think, I know there's the back and forth with Lacey Evans, is there potentially some storyline
/match is what I guess.
My goodness, that could be fun.
Could it though? I mean, do you want to see Snooki wrestle again?
Snooki wasn't that bad. You know what? I give the thumbs up to the Cardi B match. I'm excited. I'm invested in Cardi B for WrestleMania.
What is that sound that she makes? Again, I'm showing my age here. I mean, I probably should be sticking to it, but it's not an age thing. It's a genre thing. I just, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it's rock and roll for me. And Cardi B, I know she's a name. I've seen her in Pepsi commercials in the Super Bowl with Steve Carell. I've seen her in a Super Bowl commercial with Wayne's World. And boy, oh boy, high definition was not helping Wayne or Garth. They, oh man, that I miss them.
It's so interesting because it is in a lot of ways characters that do not age in human beings that do. And that was a really interesting dynamic. It's like, okay, the hair looks the same. What's the rest of the package going to look like? And yeah, I mean, it's freaking
Well,
30.
Garth Elgar always had that kind of weird face anyway, so he could
Yeah.
hide it. But Mike Myers looked a little different. And
Yeah, so
for characters that I hold dear,
Mhm.
near and dear to my heart, it was a tough commercial to watch. It
Yeah,
was
but
fun,
we're
but it's
30. I
tough.
mean, you got to look at it, man. We're 30 years down the road from that. Is that about
Yeah.
30 years, right?
And Mike was probably about 30 when he was doing that too. So,
Yeah.
Shrek was a younger man at one point.
Yes, indeed, as we all were.
That movie spawned probably one of my favorite lines of all time. Milwaukee, Algonquin for the good land.
Yes, you are. You are correct.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Raw from last night. Matthew, overall, before we kind of dive in, what were your thoughts? I mean, this is normally the Linda K slot, but Linda down in Louisville doing a little work with the OV Dubs down there in the Ville, as she says the kids call it. So you were watching Raw. What did you think? You said you almost got live at one point.
Yeah, I was actually live for 5 minutes, which was really, really fun.
And then you didn't know what to do with yourself, and you went ahead and made it like a quiche or something, right?
Yep. You know what? It's like I got a sandwich that had nice and juicy meat in the middle.
That's the name of our new show.
Meat in the middle.
No, nice and juicy meat in the middle.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Oh my goodness.
Airing at 3 a.m. in the morning on the East Coast.
But except, meat is spelled M-E-A-T as opposed to meat in the middle.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. You know what? I think we might be onto something. We might be onto a spinoff.
All right. So I interrupted you like the ass I am. Go ahead.
But it's like I had a nice juicy sandwich. Let me start again. It's like I had a nice sandwich that had juicy meat in the middle, but had two stale pieces of bread. You gotta
find another way to say it.
But it had two juicy. It had two stale pieces of bread. I did not like what.
See, now that's a weekend I've spent in Cudahy. I mean, so that's how that works.
I didn't like what bookended the show. I felt like McIntyre and Orton was just kind of there. It didn't really move the needle on anything. And the opening announcement of the Elimination Chamber match, it just reminded me how much distance now we have between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. And we're in this holding pattern right now where I was at least hoping we would have the story coming out of the Rumble would be, we know who's challenging, we know who Edge is challenging, and we know who Bianca Belair is challenging. And right now, the attitude from both of them is, there's too much going on between now and WrestleMania. I'd be stupid to make a decision. And that's pretty much where we're at with, a lot of the titles right now. I thought there were some really good mid-card matches on the show, really good progression of storylines that are not main event storylines. I'm entertained by Charlotte and Lacey, Charlotte, and the Ric Flair angle. I think Ric Flair
was
fun.
Dressed up like he was going somewhere tonight.
Yeah, he was, and I like what's going on with the U.S. title picture. I think you've got a really interesting story that's being told there. Like I said, I don't feel like we got much progression as far as the main event goes, but there was some fun stuff on the show nonetheless.
Okay. Well, let's talk about it. The main event for the Elimination Chamber on the Raw side has been set. Drew McIntyre will defend his championship against all former WWE champions: Orton, Hardy, Styles, Miz, Sheamus. Sheamus had a legit beef throughout the show saying, look here, fella. Drew said that I got a match. I get a one-on-one match. And then you're putting me in the chamber to Shane O'Mac, who is recently returning. He's got a beef. But you know what? This, I don't know, man. The Miz is still dangling that Money in the Bank briefcase. There's a possibility that Drew doesn't come out of this match. But I think there's a chance he might cash it in. Yeah.
I can see a scenario where he gets, and that's what's got me.
Does he cash it in the middle of the Elimination Chamber?
Or does he get eliminated and then he comes back and cashes it in?
Yeah.
Is he out first and then forgotten about, and then after it's all said and done, he's back in? I still say that Drew missed out on his big crowning moment at WrestleMania last year, and having Drew coming into Mania the challenger, I think, is something that the fans would want to see so they can be there for his official coronation with, say, 25,000 people.
Yep.
And I think it's something that would give Drew that moment, because he has not had a WrestleMania where he's the guy. And I think
he's the guy in front of people.
Yeah. And I think there's more of a special moment for him, winning that title at Mania than it is for him defending it. But the other concern there is, say, if that situation does go down and Miz cashes in, is Miz, and no disrespect to anybody involved, but the way that Miz has been booked during this run with Morrison, he's not put over as a threat. He's put over as the guy who has slimed his way into this briefcase. Is Miz versus McIntyre? Is Miz going into Mania the champion? Is that one of your title matches you want going into Mania? And right now it does not feel like that. So I would like to see Drew go into Mania the challenger, but I'm just not sure how you get there.
Drew losing at the Elimination Chamber or winning it back at WrestleMania would also help, obviously, the team they call Meatheads. As you saw on PWR 360's Twitter handle, we finally got the points out. We have 5 pay-per-views left. That is not including, we haven't gotten an announcement yet if there's an NXT WrestleMania weekend. I don't know if they're having one or not, so we're counting 5 without that. It's a weird spot. I really do feel that WWE will book it. Drew McIntyre gets through, and Sheamus gets a one-on-one at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Now, would you think that should be a main event?
Yeah. See, I'm even less invested in that, and it seems like that's probably where the smart money should be. I just feel like since they've started telling this Drew Sheamus story, I feel like it's been regress. I feel like it's regressed Drew and potentially regressed Sheamus in the fact that, here's the thing. I never like hearing WWE slapping me in the face with the term best friend. I feel like it's such a freaking third grade.
Such a headline. Yeah.
Yeah. Third grade playground terminology. And all of a sudden, since we've had this Sheamus, and since Sheamus gave Drew the sword, this is his best friend. Wow. His best friend gave him a gift. And Drew McIntyre, that won the title last year, that we've seen the bulk of his title reign, seems like a very believable champion. He's Drew McIntyre. Yeah, he's Scottish, but that's not his whole personality. And all of a sudden, since Sheamus gave him his sword, he's full on, kilt, sword. It just seems like it overshadows Drew into a bit of a caricature. And Sheamus seems like he has really stepped up the caricature game with his hat and his suspenders. And it just...
And the fella look. Yeah.
Yeah. It just feels like they're trying way too hard. And then I'm supposed to be invested in these guys that have been best buds their entire life, but I've only really known about it for 2 months. Man, it's trying really, really hard there. I don't know. And I feel like the smart money and the story is in Roman and Edge, but my goodness, no, you can't do that. I'll take that back. You can't do that because, man, you'd have a live crowd split, and you can't do that to Drew's push right now. So that was me thinking out loud. It's going to be Roman and Edge. The match for Drew is just a little bit more up in the air for me.
Okay. Remember, they got to fill 2 nights. So
yeah,
these 2 main events, there's got to be a pay-per-view. And again, we haven't seen Cena yet.
Maybe the answer's right there in front of us. Maybe we've been talking around it. Maybe Sheamus comes out of the chamber, the champion, and it's Sheamus and McIntyre. Yeah, going into that's a possibility.
Okay. All right, let's talk a little bit about last night. Kofi back, and the angle with Mustafa, excuse me, Ali and Retribution is now in full force. Kofi is back, and now this thing is going to WrestleMania. I guarantee it. I mean, they're going to use this to bring up Retribution, and now that Kofi's healthy and healed, they're going to see the back and forth. I want to talk about Charlotte Flair getting disqualified, then losing her title match opportunity against Asuka. Does she come in at the Elimination Chamber and save Asuka? Because she said she already has a tag team partner.
Yeah.
Or does her and Lacey team up? It was thrown out there.
I don't know, but I think this angle's doing good things for Lacey Evans. Lacey came in with a pretty hot push, and then she got cold for a while. Then you hardly did not see Lacey on TV at all. And, pairing her in a feud with Charlotte makes sense, but I really like the dynamic now between her and Ric Flair. So there's a lot of different ways that this can potentially go. I still feel like you're going into Mania potentially with a Charlotte Asuka match. I think
with Asuka holding the belt.
With Asuka holding the belt. So
where's our girl?
Yeah,
where's our girl Rhea show up?
Yeah. Or do we have? We've still got Fastlane there. I guess it's a possibility that Charlotte gets the belt from Asuka before Mania, and that we get that Rhea Charlotte rematch for the title at Mania. That's still not out of the question, and that's one of the things. There's still a long time, pay-per-view and match-wise between now and Mania. There's a lot of things that can come out of this.
I don't want to hear about Charlotte winning the belt because I don't have Charlotte on team they call Meatheads, and Drew Baydala does. So I don't want to hear about Charlotte.
That could really muddy the waters.
It could. But then again, that pickup that I made according to PWR today and, according to the Twitter feed is Q Tony Schiavone. Sting! Again, the hope is that nobody gets hurt seriously, but Sting, Adam Page, or Kenny Omega get hurt right after the pay-per-view so I can drop them.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Your favorite pro wrestling pundit, the man they call Meathead, hoping to go into the pay-per-view or come out of the pay-per-view with an injury.
A hangnail. That's all I'm asking for. Yeah. Hey, Keith Lee is back. He wasn't at the Rumble, but he was there to go one-on-one with Riddle. And you said you love this build that they're giving between Lashley, the monster, the beast. Matthew, did you catch this from Samoa Joe on MVP when MVP was on commentary? It was an avalanche of pain. Did you catch that?
I did not. That's pretty good.
Do you know why that's pretty good, folks? That's pretty good because the man Lashley is from Colorado, the Avalanche.
Colorado Avalanche.
Yep. They're playing with the ball, right?
Yeah. That's Colorado Avalanche from in the Ball Arena.
Ball Arena. I couldn't believe it. Last night I was flipping through during a commercial. I'm like, hey, I wonder if my Milwaukee Bucks are on. The game started at 8:30 Central. Oh, they got to be playing the Denver Butt Nuggets. Let's take a look. There it is, Ball Arena. Oh, look at that.
So you got to see the Ball Arena, and it's entire. You know what? I need to talk to them and see if they can potentially have a little cut out of me there.
You're gonna mail it in at the real him Thomas,
or I can just run it by. I can just swing by Ball Arena and just leave it at the doorstep.
Wait, did you say swinging ball?
Yeah, swing by the ball.
Okay, wow. The only thing that's swinging next to the ball is, let's move on. Tables match, Lana and Nia Jax. Lana with the win. Now, you and I have talked about this before, and we've talked with Linda about this stretching out of segments. Oh, look at that. We still have time to fill. How about we make Shayna Baszler and Naomi? Now, Naomi yells at the end when she beats Shayna Baszler that don't come after her now. She's got a partner now. So if you can smell what the Meathead and Matthew Thomas are cooking, I believe the tag team titles are going to be on the line. It's probably going to be Naomi and Lana taking on Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax for the tag team championships.
Yeah, it's very, very possible. It's, and they're starting to book Lana a little bit stronger, but not really. This was kind of a push her into the table spot here, and I don't know. I don't know what the ultimate outcome is going to be. At some point, in order for Lana to be taken as credible competition, she's got to start. I think you've got to break them away from this pairing, and I don't feel.
You know what Lana looks like to me? This is in no way an offense to Lana, but Lana looks like a WWF diva in the 2021 WWE Women's Division.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, folks, when I say that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you really do. And I mean, that's kind of how that's how she's being portrayed right now. She's being portrayed as somebody that does not have the skill sets of the rest of the locker room. And that's not anything against her or her in-ring ability. That is just what they want you to believe from week to week. And she's the constant underdog, and she gets wins, but it's one of these, it's a win by happenstance almost.
Right.
And
Exactly.
you've got to change who she's paired with, I think, in order for her to get away from that. But my goodness, this storyline with Baszler and Nia Jax, it's been going on for months now.
She could wrestle with the Mysterio family, because then she'll be on TV every week, having her family attacked, or, just involve King Corbin and Seth Rollins.
Wouldn't it be great if she married Dominic?
Oh, let's just merge two stories there.
That would be fantastic. She gets indoctrinated in Seth Rollins' cult, and then Seth Rollins says, "Hey, Dominic, if you join my cult, I'll give you a bride." That would be, man, I would be glued to my television every single week.
Did you say glued or colluding?
Oh, I'd be glued. And then maybe you throw some interesting sexual tension in there between Lana and King Corbin.
Well, I thought the sexual tension would be between Lana and Dominic, because he wouldn't know what to do with Lana. But nothing against her.
And that's what you do, man. I mean, it's an arranged marriage, and she's not real happy, and then you kind of get King Corbin.
I'm from America. Bang, bang, what the hang?
The possibility, I mean, that's 6 months of television right there.
That's the sad part. That is 6 months of television. All right, let's talk main event. Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre. This is not for the belt. And Sheamus showed up mid-match and interfered in the match. And really, this was kind of it was the drizzlings at the end. And we talked about it a little bit. Alexa Bliss nowhere to be found. No mention, no nothing. We hope she's all right. And I think this match was the fill-in for it.
Yeah. No, I mean, with Orton in a main event right now, you want to see some progression with that Fiend Alexa Bliss storyline, and to get nothing tonight was kind of surprising, and it felt like, it was probably something else planned to close the show. Another week with no Fiend, though. Interesting. And it's going to be, if they are keeping Alexa off TV for a while, it will be intriguing to see if the Fiend gets brought back sooner, or we go in a different direction.
Does the Fiend come back and take on John Cena?
In an actual match.
In an actual match, not a
funhouse? Yeah. I don't know. know.
That's funny, because Cena has been seen since. So he literally, unlike in normal wrestling, he literally has been destroyed since. And that should have done something for the Fiend, and it didn't.
Is that where Drew ultimately lands? And I know you're going to that Legends well on both matches, if that's the case. But my concern with that is, I think with Drew, you want to have him go against somebody that the fans in attendance clearly want to see him beat. And not that you would not have that, but I think you're potentially limiting the use of Cena if you do have him go against a babyface. Because let's face it, John Cena in 2021 is going to get a reception. You might have some Cena sucks chance, but John Cena, I think the consensus now is people are glad to see him. And
Cena hasn't been here for the entire COVID year.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think that's an argument against him going up against the Fiend. Is the Fiend in front of a live audience, he's going to be over. So I think you probably have them go in different directions.
Okay. Well, hey, tomorrow morning, Matthew, you're going to come back and join us again. We're going to talk a little bit of Impact Wrestling. We're going to get ready for AEW and NXT. There are 3 more Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournament matches, semifinal matches on NXT. We got more build on AEW. And I think I need to go post on your Matthew Thomas Denver Snow Mustang thread.
Oh, I think we do, and we can potentially, start stretching the show out and devoting like an extra 5 minutes or so to my winter driving tips.
Yeah, because they're not tips. Folks, listen here. They're to do what Matthew doesn't do. One, a Ford Mustang in Denver in winter. Two, let the cop push you and hear your fender crack and your bumper crack. Three, get stuck going into the building as well while the cop's spinning out.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing, especially if you live around this area. I mean, if you do have a rear-wheel drive vehicle, another thing, you potentially don't necessarily have to invest in a AAA membership, because you need some roadside assistance eventually if you leave your vehicle unattended in the road, not just on the side of the road, but in the middle of the road. Eventually, the police will come and they will push you out. And you know how much I had to pay the police? Nothing.
Zero.
You know how much a AAA membership costs? It costs a little bit more than nothing. How
much did that fender cost?
It just depends on if you want to get it replaced or not.
Oh, so you left it be?
Maybe.
You probably sold it to some sucker. Said, "Hey, pal, I got a car for you. It's a Ford Mustang. See, never been touched by the coppers."
Hey, the fine folks at CarMax gave me 1,000 big ones for it.
Simoleons?
Maybe.
Smackaroos? All right. Enough of this. All right. Tomorrow morning, Matthew and I will be back. Linda K will be back on Friday morning. For Matthew Thomas on the Manly Cold Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. So long, everyone.